to be kings of Europe. The palace is already built. £29 million spent on developing Ibrox over the last 5 years. And that's not been at the expense of investment in the team. Duncan Ferguson, the £4 million purchase from Dundee United, has his European baptism tonight. So too does Ali Maxwell, the goalkeeper who's filled the gap left by Andy Goram's injury. With the late withdrawal of Richard Gough with a groin problem, Stuart McCall is captain. McCall's own determination to play, swaying Walter Smith towards taking the risk with him so soon after surgery. Ian Durant, only a substitute on Saturday against Partick, is in from the start. No Mikhailichenko, no Houstra, the three permitted foreigners, the England trio of Gary Stevens, Trevor Steven and Mark Hateley. Andy.
Well, as you can imagine, Mark, I'm going to deal mainly with this Rangers side and what they're going to try and do tonight. Having a word downstairs with Walter Smith. Two positions are important when they're playing at home, David Robertson and Gary Stevens. He wants particularly Gary Stevens to be forced on the outside of Trevor Stevens, to get up forward as much as he can. Obviously, David Robertson the same on that side. The reason he wants Gary Stevens to do that is he's not been happy with Derek Ferguson and Mark Hateley as a duo up front. He's felt they were a duo, and they've kept going for the same ball, looking for the same things. So he hasn't been able to do that. What he wants Ferguson to do is to play wide, but to be available for any crossfield balls from Gary Stevens for Duncan Ferguson at the back post.
Levski Sofia have had to leave behind their captain Nasko Sirikov. His replacement is number 8. Trendafilov. 32-year-old Sasha Markov has been brought back to the defence for his knowledge of this type of tie. Those two changes apart, it is the side which Walter Smith's number 2 Archie Knox saw on Saturday. They beat Slavia Sofia to go to the top of Bulgaria's first division. Tim Milton from Denmark, who refereed Rangers last season in the European Cup and the Champions League, part of it. It's a perfect night for football after a spell of wet and windy weather in Glasgow. An early header for Stephen Presley, the late replacement for Richard Gough. He's wearing number 6, a call number 4. Levski have changed their side considerably from last season. And straight away they might be wondering whether they've got to change the team from the starting formation.
Well, he went down as if he'd been shot there.
That's Kremenliev.
I think you can see, I think Mark Hateley's trailing leg there just caught him on the side. I hope that's not a sign of things to come, Mark. At the slightest touch, players are riding about like that.
Kremenliev, who made his international debut last Wednesday for Bulgaria in the World Cup against Sweden. It looks as though Bulgaria will miss out on qualification. Sweden and France, the form horses in that particular group.
I'll tell you what's going to be interesting for the Bulgarians early on. They've got 2 specific markers picked to play, and at the moment Mark Hateley's occupying 3 players. And if that continues, that can only be good for Rangers.
Well, certainly Rangers expect man-to-man marking really all over the pitch. At the moment, the Bulgarians haven't worked out exactly the lineup of the Scottish champions.
It's number 9 Slavchev and number 5 Markov, who would be the markers normally. And if Ian Durant just plays in that little withdrawn position, it'll be interesting to see if one of the markers drops and picks him up.
Well, that has happened straight away. Markov is taking Durant. So they have sorted it out to that extent. Here's Trevor Steven. Hateley. Gary Stevens, a little English triangle there. Trevor Steven must come into the reckoning if he has a good month. There's a vacant midfield spot for England in Holland in the World Cup.
Yeah, knowing Trevor as I do. From years and years ago, Mark, I've always believed that he was the type of player that should be contesting an England place every time there's an international. He's certainly got that ability.
Gary Stevens, who didn't play at all in Rangers' European campaign last season because of injury. Duncan Ferguson, who's so good in the air. starting on the left-hand side, and not, as you might have expected, in a pairing up front with Mark Hateley. They've been playing like that recently, and it hasn't really worked for Leeds' Walter Smith. Partly because Ferguson, by his own admission, is only about 90% fit at the moment. He came here with injury problems, a legacy from last season. McPherson. Here's Duncan Ferguson. Oh, as he was caught there by Todorov.
That's one of those that could be really nasty. Luckily, Stuart McCall just managed to pull out of it. You see there, Todorov's committed himself to the tackle. Stuart McCall's able to stop his follow-through.
From David Robertson. Away by Vankov. Morgun, the goalkeeper. It's only his second start in the Levski goal. But he did play for the new coach here, Georgi Vasilev. And they were together at a previous club, Etar, that won the championship. And as I said a moment or two ago, it is a much-changed Levski Sofia side from that which actually won the title at the end of last season. 5 new players from the 11 starting this game. Here's Duncan Ferguson. He'd love to get his first goal tonight. It's his 7th game in Rangers colours. Looking to be a provider, though, here. Durant beaten in the air in the centre. Here's Presley. Now McPherson. Cut from Ian Ferguson. What was so impressive about Rangers in Europe last season was that they did seem to play a continental style.
I know that, Martin, but I'm just thinking early on in the game here at Ibrox, and you look at the height advantage Duncan Ferguson has over Kremenliev in that area. I would be very, very tempted early on in the game, if I was on the touchline, to be getting a message to my back players and say, listen, if you get a chance, look for Duncan Ferguson. Get people up and support him, because we expect him to win most of this kind of ball.
Just like that. It's a tactic that we've seen from Leeds United with Gary Speed playing on the left-hand side and climbing to direct headers across goal. He's been very much in the news recently, Duncan Ferguson.
Well, he'll be wanting to create headlines of a different kind tonight, won't he? He's certainly got the ability to do that.
Kremenliev. Holding ahead of him. It's a good tackle back by Ferguson. But David Robertson was having a rare old tussle. We've got him Milov. Yakov. He scored twice in the league on Saturday, although he's really a holding midfield player. Quickly was Presley. Ian Durant. Presley again. Slavchev has been called of a defender. Definitely has the responsibility for Hateley. Kremenliev, though, does look vulnerable in the air against the shorter Duncan Ferguson. And Gary Stevens might seek that out now across a poor one.
Yeah, that was quick thinking from Ian Durant on the free kick. Looked up, saw Duncan Ferguson and pulled to the back post against Kremenliev and knocked it in immediately.
Off another of the current Bulgarian internationals in the Levski side. Wearing number 4 and pushing on down the left-hand side from left back. Touched on by Duncan Ferguson, well anticipated by Durant, who's made a typically lively start. McCall, there's no offside here, but there's no ball either for Hateley. It drops beyond him.
Well, that's 3 times now the Bulgarian side have tried to push out to catch Rangers offside, and 3 times have failed.
And I must say, it's quite an attacking Levski lineup. They lost Sirikov, their star from the '86 World Cup finals, their captain, who was injured on Saturday. They have replaced him with another out-and-out forward. They are playing with 2 up, but it's the defence that's under question here with Durant. Haitley can try and tee up Trevor Steven.
But that's what we're looking to do, get both full-backs forward if they can.
This is Grigorash, he's a Romanian. Number 10, Todorov, back in Bulgaria after 2 seasons in the French First Division. And no foul there as Yankov lost his footing. Steven looking early for Haitley. He's got away from Slavchev for a moment. There's no cover on the marker there, but Haitley couldn't get in behind him. Rangers currently only 5th in the Premier Division. Out of sorts in the league. Although they are in the semi-finals of the League Cup. They play Celtic here next Wednesday night. Milov looking for Todorov. And it's certainly not a policy of just getting players behind the ball from the Bulgarians.
Well, it is when they lose it. That's a certainty. They can drop players back very quickly, as many behind the ball as they can. But you're right, once they have possession, they've looked early on to be breaking forward very quickly.
And with numbers, which is perhaps even more surprising. Sasha Markov, who was also in the World Cup squad in '86 in Mexico, 32 years old now. Looking a bit like Harpo Markov.
You see lots of that from markers, man-for-man markers, Martin. They're quite prepared to give away free kicks all over the pitch.
Free kick to Rangers. McPherson will reach it. And it was, well, off the line when the goal looked there for Rangers, and how they would have loved to have had the lift of a strike inside the opening 10 minutes. McPherson so close to supplying it.
Well, I thought that was past the goalkeeper, and out came his left hand. I think it was his left hand that came out and just swatted the ball away, basically. For all the world, that looked like it was just about to nestle in the net. But the promising thing will be the marking is absolutely abysmal. Bends it in wonderfully. Now look, the goalkeeper comes, goes back, sticks up his left hand, and basically swats it away with a little bit of help from the sweeper Hubchev.
They needed Hubchev there. Duncan Ferguson going in, and behind him, Haitley trying to stoop to conquer them.
I mean, yes, play the ball about, yes, be patient. But I think with what we've seen in the first 10 minutes or so, Rangers are going to get some joy tonight if they can put balls into the box, whether it be set pieces or in free play.
McPherson. Duncan Ferguson just helping it on down the line. Slavchev alongside Haitley. It'll be like that for the remainder of the evening, one would suspect. Kremenliev. Throw to Rangers.
There will be. There's no way that they'll want Markov to be caught on Mark Haitley with a height difference. So it will be Slavchev who will follow Haitley everywhere.
Ian Ferguson, who's been in good goal-scoring form, particularly in cup ties, and very nearly making his mark here in the European Cup itself.
It's lovely link-up play. Great vision from Durant with a little knockdown. A fabulous backing up play from midfield. And he really has got a shot like a real Ian Ferguson when he hits them. The only thing he did wrong for me is I think I'm missing the target.
It was Ian Ferguson who took Rangers into the semi-final of the League Cup with a terrific strike here against Aberdeen. Haitley free to guide it down. Durant recognised that and get in across quickly here. That was Ian Ferguson again ducking in.
What I'd like to see now in European games, the home team just building up a little bit of pressure and sustaining it.
And Ferguson turning beautifully, just out of the reach of Gary Stevens and out of play.
He's unlucky. He looked like he was about to be crowded out, Ian Ferguson, but a lovely turn. And almost found Gary Stevens.
It is in goal scoring that Rangers have been below par this season, just 7 in 6 league games. You do feel that can only get better. left the area that the ball went into at the wrong time for the Bulgarian champions. Stevens. Pressing. Way out here through David Robertson. He's only 24, but playing for the 7th season in European competition. He started with Aberdeen. Pressing. Get a cross in from here if he wants. Hateley gave him an option. He got it onto his strong left foot. Fired away. But Morgun, this Ukrainian goalkeeper, was taking up the right angle position there.
Lovely skill from Mark Hateley. Really was.
Robertson. Hateley and Durant going for the same ball. And a bit of pushing by Duncan Ferguson. But Morgun made this look rather easier than it seemed to save. Todorov. Milov. Trevor Stevens. Let's just have a look at the build-up again with the ball into Hateley's feet rather than across.
It's worth it to see the skill here. Look at that. Lovely little drag back there. Hits that well enough, but fortunately for Morgun, it's straight down his throat.
Zatanov going to the left, but that had no chance of reaching him. Steven for Durant. It's a little sloppy and the crowd reacted adversely to it. Rangers still have the ball in McPherson. 15 minutes gone.
Funny enough, Martin, when the Bulgarians go forward like that, and as you've said, they are prepared to throw one or two numbers up there. And if Rangers win the ball back early, if they're a little bit quicker in the build-up, a little bit more positive earlier.
Referee just having a word with Milov. Robertson. Cleared by Markov. McPherson has come closest so far to giving Rangers the lead. Robertson. Vladimir in quickly again. 23 years old. Played 3 times already for Bulgaria. Country that Scottish fans were grateful to only a couple of years ago when they held Romania to allow Scotland to go into the European Championship finals for the first time. Stevens. Ian Ferguson let it run, and he couldn't really have had a call to do that. There was no chance of McCall getting the ball. Todorov. Zatanov. Yakov. Sweeper Kukchev. Tight for Todorov on the far side. Well, certainly Levski Sofia playing the way that Walter Smith and Archie Knox would have suggested to the Rangers team after the spying missions. For their part, the Bulgarians have had one of their coaches over here for 10 days now. And he's going to stay on for another week to get more information for the second leg. McPherson. Here's a beautiful surface on which to pass the ball, but Rangers not doing it effectively then. This is Grigorash. There's a ball on across the face of the penalty area to Todorov, and he didn't recognise it quickly enough, otherwise Rangers would have been in real trouble.
We could thank Stuart McCall for not committing himself forward, just filled in when David Ferguson went past him, and that was a vital decision from Stuart McCall.
away by Grigoras again. Whenever Levski get the ball, they're prepared to have three players up very quickly and supported from midfield. But here's a galloping run from Robertson. That's a useful cross to the type that Hateley thrives on.
Well, that's better. That's the kind of pace at times that Rangers have got to inject in the game. Because David Robertson took the initiative, decided I'll go on my own, and fired in a very good quality cross. There's a little look early, knows where he wants to play it, goes into an area, saying to Mark Hateley, go on, go and attack it. He can't keep his header down.
Duncan Ferguson. Hateley. Yes, putting his foot in, but Durant taking over for Rangers, and McCall coming up in support. Ahead of him is Trevor Stephen.
If Rangers can just have a look occasionally, Martin, when they have the ball in the last third, they're about 30-40 yards from goal. When Trevor Stephen tucks in from the right, Gary Stephen has absolutely acres on the right-hand side of the field. If someone just looks up and is prepared to switch the play.
Stephen. And Gary Stevens is such a fine athlete, but still really getting himself back in prime condition, having missed so much of last season. And indeed the start of this. Robertson. Certainly the Bulgarians defending very deep, and allowing Rangers to hover on the edge of the area there. Go back into that area, but Durant this time is offside.
They lift quite the possession Rangers up to 30-40 yards from goal, and that's when the final ball is vital. The most concentration is required when you're delivering that final ball.
Last year, all four of the Bulgarian clubs in Europe went out in the first round. The whitewash, real determination in the country for that not to happen again. The second leg will be played in the Levski Stadium, where the national team play in Sofia. They could get as many as 65,000 if the game is within the reach of the Bulgarian club. So Rangers will feel that they've got to do some good work here tonight at Ibrox. 0-0 so far. But there's been a lot of talk about the importance of keeping a clean sheet in the home leg.
That's the one thing you demand, first of all. And that's the one thing Walter Smith would have said. Listen, no matter what else happens, I want a clean sheet tonight.
Person darted on, hoping for a quick free kick for Rangers here. The ball has to go back. Paul directing operations for the side he captains tonight in the absence of Richard Goff.
We certainly do fancy Ian Ferguson.
Hateley's come to be involved as well. Short for Ian Ferguson. And
He'll be booked, Martin. The Bulgarian charger there will be booked.
it's Pucha. The number 3 is booked.
You see there, he's only about 5 yards off the ball. The referee spotted it immediately and had no hesitation. They're very quick on that in Europe. Anyone encroaching like that.
So take 2 at this free kick for Rangers, and Markov now coming out saying perhaps that the ball's placed in the wrong position. He gets a yellow card as well. And now there's some collective anger from Levski. This referee, who's very well thought of in UEFA refereeing circles, he's only 33. I think Markov's saying that the whistle hadn't gone, but nevertheless, why was he going in to get to the ball? So after 2 yellow cards for the players in yellow shirts, can Rangers really make them angry now by scoring? Hateley trying to steer it in.
managers hate that when they get free kicks in situations like that, 20, 30 yards from goal, and the goalkeeper's not called upon to make a save of any sort. Almost half an hour gone, Mark. I'd just like to have seen Morgan and the Sofia goal tested a little bit more. Very few questions being asked of him at the moment.
As I say, he is a new goalkeeper for this team. His first full game for them in the league on Saturday. It was a big question mark as to who would be the goalkeeper tonight. They brought 3 over with them in a squad of 18. Morgan getting the vote. Todorov. Grigorash. Very nearly came off for Levski. The type of run that the crowd love here from McPherson. Duncan Ferguson on from the court. McPherson making the extra man. Robertson joining in. But now with 2 defenders out of position. Todorov trying to be the architect of a break here for Levski Sofia. Borimirov. Todorov. Rangers are back in force now, but they still need to get the ball. Todorov, who's been just a little laborious when quicker passing, might well have found a way to go. Borimirov presented with the ball by Robertson.
You've just got to be careful, Rangers, when they bring forward like that. They've got to have a little bit of discipline at the back still.
Stephen. So much to be gained from European football in terms of prestige and fame around the continent, but of course financially as well. Haley is onside, found by Ian Ferguson.
He's not happy, Duncan Ferguson. Look at his face. But he won't be happy either, Mark Haley, because he's better than this. Loses his marker totally. He's looking just to play it across the face of the goal. You can see why Duncan Ferguson's upset, because he also lost his marker in that near post area and was completely free.
Duncan Ferguson had a goal disallowed here against Partick on Saturday. He's hit the post 3 times in his previous appearances. Desperate to get off the mark. No handball. Dafilov. Tremenliev for the throw. Well, Rangers having the territorial supremacy. Tremenliev. Robertson is giving the ball back to Borimirov. Here's McCall. Radiates energy. Yankov. So Jeff Haley trying to dispossess the sweeper. Yankov able to give him an avenue in which to pass the ball. Tremenliev. Now Todorov. Well, that was arguably their first real effort at goal. It was mishit by Grigorash, but what was more impressive was the build-up play.
It gets in very easily for me as well. Grigorash walks into acres of space. Didn't have to do an awful lot to get in there.
Robertson. Again, very deep defending by the Bulgarians. McCall. Durant. Sliding in. Yankov felled by McCall, who hasn't played since the opening day of the season. That was August the 7th up here in Scotland. Picked up an injury that day, needed a hernia operation. Rather rushed back tonight. Oh, Durant got a boot in the face that was ducking down in the mind of the referee. Todorov. Ferguson. Durant with his mind back on the job. Steven. First and again. This is not the first time he's given Levski a different kind of problem. Here's Duncan Ferguson, drifting it towards Hakeley. And it comes for Gary Stevens, who's got time to set the sights, pushed out by Morgoon. And in the end, it flew safely for Levski Sofia across the penalty area and out of play.
Well, that's the kind of area I was talking about. Gary Stevens can wander into almost at will. Number 4, Svetanov, has been dragged back and he's been dragged in narrow. And that kind of area is there for Gary Stevens.
Here's Durant for Hakeley. Morgoon is out. The crowd wondering why Durant didn't go for goal himself. And maybe he's wondering that now. Presley. Here's Steven. Gary Stevens with a cross. Header out by Markov. Well, you have to say, that looked as though the goal was there for the taking by one or the other of them.
Well, this is a better attempt, in all honesty. It's a very tight angle from Gary Stevens, but he goes for goal. And Rangers don't have the luck of someone just there to knock it in. But this is a real chance. No offside there, no question of it. I thought Ian Durant's just going to knock this in. But he didn't do Mark Hakeley any favours by knocking it behind him. And the chance was lost. And what a chance.
Well, Morgoon has made 2 or 3 now. Very important contributions for Levski Sofia. He was found wanting. Kubchev got it off the line. Markov, who has been booked. Durant feels the referee's been lenient.
The only nice thing you can see about this tackle is he got there as quickly as he could. Look at that. So late.
Shot from Robertson. Well, Sasha Markov is walking a dangerous line here. Booked for not going back 10 yards to that earlier free kick, along with the player taking this goal kick, Kubchev. Who played in Motherwell's Scottish Cup winning side a couple of years ago, then fell out with that club, was involved in a long contract wrangle, during which time he had spells on loan in England at Liverpool and Bolton. Ian Ferguson. Well, it's just not coming off the ranges at the moment. Crowd, which can be so voluble in its support at the moment. Relatively quiet, certainly by Ibrox standards. And here's Bodimirov, looking to silence them even more. There was a player on Trendafilov on this near side.
That's another little warning. Really is to Rangers.
Well, Archie Knox bouncing up and down on the bench. Clearly not happy with the way the team is performing. And Levski with plenty of confidence. It's Grigorash. They do believe they're a better side this season than they were when they won the Bulgarian Championship, and they won it by 8 points. Grigorash, one of the newcomers, a Romanian who played in the European Cup before, in the 89-90 season for Steaua Bucharest. Thomas Steven, who's won a European medal, of course, with Everton, along with Gary Stevens, along with certain gentleman on my right as well.
Seems such a long time ago.
Well, it's more than 8 years ago now. Rangers try again from deep. Robertson. Here's Markov. Headed by Presley. Hagley flicking it off. And a look as to where Duncan Ferguson was, but he has been asked, as we said at the start, to play wide on the left-hand side. And the only player perhaps who could have anticipated that, Ian Durant, who had ground to make up, trying to get close to Hagley from a deeper position.
I'd like to see Ian Ferguson catch him up a little bit quicker. I mean, when the ball's played long, for him to gamble, like in that situation. Not only Duncan Ferguson, the two strikers to be gambling, but one of the central midfield players. Jake McCall's more of a holding player in there, but Ian Ferguson certainly has got the capabilities to break forward. I just feel he should be doing that or gambling a little bit more.
Todorov. Well, it's a big night here in the European Cup. It's a big night on Sunday, rather, a big afternoon on Sunday in the FA Carling Premiership. Manchester United against Arsenal, the top two in the division, head-to-head at Old Trafford, live on Sky Sports. Stephen, Hagley's offside. It's been a stop-start sort of half for Rangers. Plenty of the ball.
Very close this, you see that sweeper pushing out, and when they cross like that, it's a difficult decision for the linesman. There wasn't an awful lot in that.
Levski went out in the first round of the Companies' Cup a year ago to a Swiss second division side, Lucerne. Lost their last 6 rounds of European matches, but they're beginning to believe here that this might not be the worst time to draw the mighty Rangers, who have been out of sorts in their league. Without some key players, of course, Ali McCoist, Andy Gorham, at the last minute tonight, Richard Gough, who's been making a lot of headlines up here in Scotland, got secretly married last week, and then was far from secretive about his relationship with Andy Roxburgh, although the former Scotland boss had his own back, I think, by announcing his resignation on the day that Richard Gough's revelations were published in a local newspaper up here, getting plenty of space for himself. Borimirov. Svetanov. There's a left-back with plenty of attacking ideas. Dafilov going in with a header. It was a weak one, but again, another rap across the knuckles for Rangers, who you fear would be happy to get to half-time and have a talk in the dressing room to sort one or two things out.
I think Walter Smith will be anxious to get to half-time, because this team, the Bulgarian champions, have grown and grown, and they've started, as you say, I think, to believe that perhaps there's something more than just holding out for a 0-0 draw in this game for them. And certainly in the last 10 minutes, they've asked one or two questions of their own.
But all that could change. Panic could set in if Rangers could raise the roof here by getting the first goal of the tie. And soon. Hoisted in by Presley. McPherson in there. Well, it could have looked anyway, but that for Rangers. Off the head of Ian Ferguson, controlled well initially by Presley. Here's Stevens. Robertson. touch by Borimirov. Taken on here by Semenliev. Svendafilov. Todorov. They call him the Kaiser because of his generalship on the pitch. One of his better passes. And the last minute of the first half, plus stoppage time. Stephen just squeezing it through from the corner. He waits for Robertson. That was a theatrical fall, and the referee wasn't fooled by it. Borimirov. Paul trying to get back to him, and given lack of match practice, that was an excellent piece of retrieving by tonight's Rangers captain. Duncan Ferguson and Durant getting in each other's way, and there's a little cameo of what's aggravating the crowd here. Borimirov. Todorov. Play on. Paul does that. Ferguson. Haitley. The chance here for Rangers right on half-time. Cross just cut out.
There was much better pace in that build-up, but there really was. From back to front, everything happened so much quicker.
Durant with the corner. Muldoon comes through the crowd. McPherson! In stoppage time at the end of the first half. Muldoon is beaten by David McPherson.
Well, it always looked the most likely route, right from the first minute. Anything put into a decent area was going to cause the Bulgarians problems. Goalkeeper doesn't clear it. David McPherson certainly doesn't hit it very clean. But sometimes it's better just to hit them into the ground like Davey does there. And just bobbles it into the net, because it doesn't matter how they go in. This is a very important goal for Rangers. It all started from the space that Mark Haitley found there. Couldn't produce the cross. The goal resulting from the corner.
Svendafilov. At a time when Levski had their heads up and were looking, in truth, for the past 5 minutes or so, the more likely team to score. But Rangers found the aerial route, really, with a challenge from the corner. And the first to locate the loose ball was Dave McPherson. It papers over some of the cracks for Rangers in the first half. But they go in at half-time at Ibrox, leading Levski Sofia by 1-0.
Welcome back to Ibrox. 1-0 to Rangers at half-time. They'll need, or they'll certainly be looking for more than that in this second half as we rejoin Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Thank you, Richard. The one goal from Davy McPherson. Reward, really, for some very enterprising play, bursting forward from the back whenever the opportunity presented itself. Well, Rangers have conceded 99 goals in the European Cup to date. They won't want it to go to 100 tonight. No substitutions for either side during the half-time break. Semenliev. Here's Presley. Haitley dragging his marker across here and getting the ball in front of him. That's Slavchev. Duncan Ferguson. So Rangers taking the lead in stoppage time at the end of the first half. spoiling what was Levski Sofia's best spell of the game. And they really looked as though they were believing in themselves and their way of playing. Not a trip. If it wasn't intentional. Certainly a Rangers throw. Hateley being told to get up and get on with it by the referee.
I think the referee's probably right there.
Stephen. Ferguson with the challenge. Rangers have just announced their profits for the last tax year of £3.25 million. But of course, since that tax year was closed, they've spent money, particularly on this fella. Ferguson. Back for Grigorash. Hesitation by Stevens. And then, oh, somebody had to take decisive action, and it was Presley.
Well, he just miscontrols it, Gary Stevens, that's all there. And suddenly he's in a little bit of trouble.
Svetanov. Bulgarian left back with a terrific cross. Just looking a little bit powder puff in front of goal, Levski Sofia.
I'll tell you what, David Preston's got a vital goal, but that was a vital defensive header he provided there.
So he was getting applauded by his teammates as Rangers started to put that attack together. Lenkov, Svetanov. To roll it into the feet of Grigorash. He came his way by an unexpected route. Well, Slav, this time blatant in his push into the back of Hateley.
The referee's been good tonight, Mark. He's been unfussy, he's just got on with the job, he's been very dominant in every decision he's had to make.
Durant with the free kick. He used the hand there. Well, the referee must have seen it. It's a yard or so from him.
I think it hit his hand. I think that's more the thing. But it was right on line with it, the referee. Right on the spot.
Robertson with the throw. Shaping for the long run. In towards Hateley.
That's where I was a little bit disappointed there. With Mark Hateley talking about gambling, a long throw in there. It was Ian Ferguson at the edge of the box. I'd just like to have seen him gamble on the Hateley header. He must know that there's a 90% chance that Mark's going to get a touch on it, and they've just gambled into the box.
Hateley is 31 now. Been around Europe, of course, in Italy and France. He does still very effectively indeed. And unlike a lot of tall strikers, he's got plenty of pace as well with his aggression. I'm sure that I'm poised to be the first to pay tribute to the work Mark Hateley did in their 50th season together last season. Stephen, lovely play. Durant. Just couldn't find where Hateley was running to. Borimirov. Giving chase.
Just lost his bearings, Ian Durant, I think, in that situation. But wonderful skill from Trevor Stephen. Brilliant footwork.
Tricky Trevor.
That's what he was called at Everton in his Everton days. A great feet, Mark.
Durant is a natural talent as well. Just hasn't quite gone for him so far tonight. He won't shirk his responsibility. He's up alongside Hateley, who's beaten in the air by Slanchuk this time. Stephen again showing his quality. Another former Everton player, Stuart McCall. thickening Spanian play. McCall driving on, Hateley wanting it at the far post. Duncan Ferguson, Hateley, and no for the two big men for Rangers, who were launching themselves at McCall's cross when he fancied one of them to score.
But it ends up a corner, Martin, but we admire the skill of Stuart McCall. Duncan Ferguson's what, a fraction of an inch away from it. And the defender just gets a touch before Hateley can knock it in.
Durant will take the corner. McPherson perhaps getting in Hateley's way. Duncan Ferguson.
Well, he hasn't scored yet, but he won't come much closer.
Another one goal tonight from Dave McPherson, who played in all of the European Cup games, all 10 of them last season. Not off annoyed with the direction of Grigorash's run there. Still 1-0 to Rangers. Very important part of the scoreline from their point of view. Kremenliev. Yankov. He was still in Spain last season, just for a few months on loan with Valladolid. Who played in France, as I said earlier. Certainly demand for Bulgarian players. Hristo Stoichkov, perhaps the most famous, with Barcelona. And of course, we've got Boncho Genchev in England with Ipswich. Here's Stevens. Oh, Durant has got time. Probably wasn't told that. Certainly a ball that he could have controlled for himself rather than just help it on.
That's where the instincts fail you, I think, as an unnatural striker, if you like. Someone like the missing Alan McCoist, I'm sure, would have just brought that down his chest and gambled he had a little bit of time.
Todor. Voromirov. For Markov. Slavjev dispossessed by Hateley. Ian Ferguson wanting someone on the left. There's no one available. Comes down the other flank through Stevens. McCall for Trevor Stephen. Lovely play from Rangers. Hateley is there in the centre. Morgun parries, and it breaks Levski's way in the shape of Setanov. Move had much more polish about it.
Much more. I think that's exactly right. The two best moves that really made this match, Rangers, have been the one that led up to the corner for the goal, and that one there where Trevor Stephen got in behind the Sofia defence.
Voromirov. Yankov. Zoltanov coming from left back. Cole struggling to stay with him. Zoltanov with the cross. Butted away by Stephen Presley. Zoltanov still making these winning runs down the left, although he has been limping and had one spell of treatment. Out by McCall. Held up well by Durant. But he couldn't really give Ian Ferguson much of a chance with the layoff. Zoltanov getting plenty of the ball. Todorov. Well, it is very well poised this tie. The second leg in front of what might be a hostile crowd in Sofia in 2 weeks' time. Big stadium, not a very good pitch, we're led to believe. Not been much rain in Bulgaria. Indeed, it was 30 degrees out there last Saturday. But the temperatures here tonight, I must say, it's pretty chilly. Todorov. Trendafilov not quick enough. Bertanov with a rather laboured and painful prod at the ball. He's certainly struggling. It would be worth exposing him down this side. Stevens has made a run, but Rangers looking left through Stuart McCall. Now Duncan Ferguson in early. Stephen has come to a more central position. First wanting to set off and get the glory again. Morgan coming. It drops for David McPherson. Haitley! 2-0. And Mark Haitley makes this one count.
Well, it's the inability of the goalkeeper again to deal with the ball in the air. But it's all down to David McPherson. You talked about his enterprise in the first half, Martin. He shows it again there. He played the ball, made the run forward. Morgan couldn't deal with it, and look at the lovely little stand-up from David McPherson, and that's what Mark Haitley's all about. This isn't an easy header, it really isn't. He's backing off it, going away from the goal. He has to put the power in it himself, and he controls the header very well indeed.
Well, a moment ago, he was trying to control the crowd as well. A la Gascoigne with a bit of sheer leading. His 5th goal this season, it makes him the top scorer now. He was level with Ian Ferguson on 4. Well, Dave McPherson has scored one and made one. And he is a centre-back. A very progressive one. Rangers once let him go. He grew in stature with Hearts. Was brought back to Ibrox for last season. Vladimir. He has a great dismissive gesture when players fall and expect free kicks. He is a figure of real authority. Kim Milton, he is happy to be called Kim Milton Nielsen, his full name. Bertanov. Todorov. Yankov. Durant astray to Bemenlia. Cross from Markov. Todorov. 2-0. It's an ideal position for Rangers. Both in the attacking sense to have the 2-goal cushion and the defensive sense that nothing's been given away in terms of an away goal for Levski Sofia. There's been some pretty build-up play from the Bulgarians. Nothing really concrete around Ali Maxwell's goal.
No real cutting edge has been there, has there, at all, Mark? They haven't done badly up to about 18-20 yards, but everyone's just sort of died a death really up there.
McCall. Wonder whether he'll be able to last the full 90 minutes. Done just what you'd expect. Defied the medical men. Jeff. See what Levski would be like if you allowed them time to play. They're very good technically. They just don't have that good old ingredient, Scottish aggression. Vladimir thought about the shot, but given time. Ian Ferguson. Poor Ian Durant, nothing he can do at the moment is working for him. Vladimir with the shot, and it was an awkward one in the end, dipping. Maxwell had to get it up and over.
Just telling his defenders here to squeeze the ball quicker. I think he felt that Boromilov had a little bit more time than he deserved, and you see how wickedly that ball was dipping. He did the right thing for me. I'm not sure about collecting it cleanly and push it away.
Slavchev going towards the near post, trying to flick it on. Oh, Grigorach had quite a bit to aim at, it seemed, and Maxwell wants more protection again.
Well, he's right to be asking questions. This is a poor corner. Look, right along the ground. But look at the space that Grigorash finds.
Stephen for Hateley.
Really would be criminal, Martin, for Rangers having not been at their best, in my opinion, but got a 2-goal lead if they were to concede one now. Well, let's have a look at Dave McPherson. There he is there, number 5. He's knocked it off to Stuart McCall, and he's made the run forward. And by doing that, he's got himself into that position. There he is, completely free in the penalty area. Had he not shown that little bit of enterprise there, the move would have just died out. And Rangers end up with a second goal because of it.
Mark Hateley scored it, but Davy McPherson has taken up the cudgels for Rangers tonight. Sending the message from the bench. Awkward for Rangers now, 2-0, good position. But there's plenty of time and plenty of appetite, particularly from the crowd, to guide them on to do more. The risk is, of course, if they do it at the expense of something going wrong at the back.
Yeah, I think they don't need to take chances now, do they? They don't need to risk conceding anything. They can just keep playing away, happy with a 2-goal lead, and if another one comes, that's great. If it doesn't, we'll take 2-0. We won't take 2-1 trying to push for a third.
Play with their heads as well as their hearts.
I think they learned that last year as well.
Durant. Levski lacking for a moment. Stevens with the cross, Muldoon thinking about coming for it, thinking better of it, and then in danger of being left stranded by the power of Duncan Ferguson's header. It was off target in the end, as you saw.
That's the tactic they were looking for. Gary Stevens to get forward, look for the diagonal ball, and Duncan Ferguson to be attacking it from wide, which is exactly what he does. But can't just guide it across the face of the goal.
They're a very friendly bunch to be around watching train here last night, the Bulgarian players. Stephen bringing it up, it's out of play. When you think that Levski were once the team of the secret police, when the regime was much more rigid in Bulgaria. A great deal of freedom now, and I must say it shows in the way they conduct themselves. Looking for a bit of attacking freedom now in the footballing sense, and they want to make a change. Take off Grigorash. Hateley. Missed by Markov. Cover was there in the shape of Hukchev, the sweeper. Left-wing magic from Duncan Ferguson. Robertson. Oh, coming back his way. It ends up as a goal kick. And that will allow Levski to make the change. On will come Georgi Ivanov to replace the Romanian Grigorash.
Substitution for Levski Sofia, up comes featuring Grigorash and number 16, Georgi Ivanov.
Just noticed Walter Smith's come down to the dugout, Martin, and now he's gone back up to take his seat in the stand. It may be that he's decided he's going to make a change as well. Looks to me that little Johnny Morrow's coming, is coming on.
Bundled over. Just over 20 minutes to go. 2-0 to Rangers. Goals from McPherson and Hateley. Svetanov with a teasing ball in there. McPherson made it his.
That's as good a delivery as you'll see tonight. It really was from a set piece.
Hateley coming back to help out. Sometimes forwards can be a real nuisance in those areas. Really understanding the basic principles of defending, but Mark Paisley did rather well. And he's still in his right position when Gary Stevens looks to hit him. Greater physical strength about Rangers in their play than Levski, who have been pretty in their work at times, but not punchy. Durant. Ferguson dealt with him one way or t'other.
Well, they've got two down.
Rangers concentrating on going forward, or concentrating may be the wrong word. And they're waiting really for the referee to let the Bulgarian medical party on. Down on the edge of the centre circle.
He's booked Stuart McCall, the referee, Mark. I think what he's indicating is the tackle on Todorov a little bit earlier. Although he let it go and played the advantage, he didn't forget about it, because Stuart McCall has just found himself in the referee's notebook. This is it here, I think, as you'll see, as Todorov takes the ball away. Stuart McCall comes in, catches him on the instep, and it didn't look that vicious, did it?
Well, the game will be restarted with a drop ball. John Morrow waiting for the chance to come on. He is one of the assimilated players here, comes from Northern Ireland, indeed has been in the full international squad, although very rarely recently because of injury in the Rangers squad. He played on Saturday against Partick, which was his first senior appearance for almost 2 years. He's a winger. Stephen, cut off by Slavchev. The replacement for Sidakov, who's been missed tonight. Oh, slipped by McPherson. First thing that's really gone wrong for him tonight. Borimirov hit the shot, and Maxwell kept it out and kept the shutout going that Rangers so badly want.
Well, he's been a hero most of the night, Dave McPherson, but this slip could really have been costly. He thinks he's got time, just loses his footing. And for the first time tonight, Ali Maxwell's called upon to make a very important save. And when he needs a bit of luck for the ball just to drop to safety, he gets it.
Borimirov is a midfield player with an eye for goal. Durant, neatly improvising. And again. Jeff. Paisley. Durant chasing. Rangers will make their substitution. John Morrow comes on. It hasn't been the happiest of nights for Ian Durant. Well, Morrow certainly caught the eye with his display here on Saturday against Partick. Pleased to be back. He very nearly missed the kickoff because he'd been suffering with blistered feet and they were being strapped up as the team went out without him. And when you've been out of the side for almost 2 years, that can be a very worrying moment. And here is Morrow from Ferguson's header.
Well, what an opening that would have been for John Morrow. First touch, back in the net. But even from the cross, I think you see here the thing that was worrying Walter Smith about playing both Mark Catley and Duncan Ferguson, both basically getting involved in the same area. But Ferguson obviously gave a good call. And that looks a bad miss from that range, doesn't it? But he's cold, he's only just got on.
And he's not really on to head goals, to be fair to him, but nevertheless, when the chance comes, you hope you take it, and Morrow couldn't do that. Stevens really given a lot of chance there, even off working back. Yankov. Borimirov wants to shoot again, and McCall stopping it the first time. Yankov is there, still Borimirov. Nicely played. Betanov. Worrying for Rangers here. But on the spot again was McPherson. Morrow keeps it in play, but then finds he has to chase it himself. Markov. Ball. Maybe interception. Stevens picking out Haitley. Here's Robertson. From Ferguson to the left, Morrow through the middle. Robertson finding some real acceleration, but not finding a teammate with the pass. Duncan Ferguson covering well into that left-back slot if required, as Robertson makes his way to the back line. You've got to be with us, surely, on our Super Sunday, this coming Sunday. Manchester United against Arsenal. I need to say really no more than the names of the two clubs. Live from the FA Carling Premiership. Nicky clearance only to Ivanov. Well, no, it's gone in. I would thought for a moment that it had been saved by Maxwell, but Borimirov, who's looked threatening from midfield, and there's an away goal here to dampen the atmosphere at Ibrox. Maxwell couldn't keep it out. It's 2-1.
Well, this is criminal, it really is, giving a goal away at such a late stage. It's in a very dangerous area. Borimirov really does climb very well for it. Whether David Robertson could have done a little bit more to make the header more difficult. It's a difficult one for Ali Maxwell to deal with. It bounces about a yard in front of him, and he's unable to push it round the post, but that's a real blow.
2-1, and a major change in the atmosphere here and the balance of power in this tie. If it was to stay like this, of course, then a 1-0 Levski win in Sofia in the second leg would be enough.
It's amazing, man. Just at the time I was just thinking it's a difficult time for Rangers now, because whether to go and look for that third that I felt would have killed them totally, or whether to stay at 2 where they look fairly comfortable.
Stevens. Haitley. It's 3. Well, the third goal that's been so elusive for Rangers, even in their European Cup campaign last season. And it's the first time they've got 3 in any competitive match this season. And how they needed it here. And how grateful they are to Mark Haitley for supplying it.
Well, it's a great ball in from Gary Stevens. Haitley pulls behind his marker. He doesn't really know much about that mark. He's guiding it towards the goal. He's gambling on the goalkeeper being off his line. You see that? It's the most difficult angle. Morgan obliges by being a little off his line. And that's a vital goal for Rangers.
Well, within seconds of absorbing the blow of losing a goal, they've reacted to widen the gap to 2 again. Maxwell has to make a save. Borimirov has been the one Bulgarian player who has looked to be direct in his work. He scored the goal. He's troubled Ali Maxwell, particularly in this second half. But Mark Haitley is having a bigger say. 10 minutes to go, 3-1.
I'd be thinking of nothing else but putting this in the mixer, as they say. We've got the three big boys up, and that's a wasted opportunity for me.
Presley, given away. Return off, Borimirov. McCall, nicely done tomorrow. Ferguson coming in from the left-hand side. He's offside, according to the linesman. Well, 2 goals in quick succession here.
2 goals in very quick. This is about the third ball they've played from this left side. It's been a really dangerous ball. Dave McPherson dealt with the first 2, but they bypassed him this time. And Borimirov provided a fine header. But this one was even better in my book. Really difficult angle Mark Haitley finds himself. He's only helping it on. He's gambling the goalkeepers off his line, and he gets his reward.
Here's Kandapilov. Maxwell's got to kick it, and he does that, and well. Borimirov. Ferguson falling. Kremenliev can cross it. Oh, Todorov! 3-2! What an amazing game here in the European Cup. 8 minutes to go, and Rangers leak again.
Well, you can't believe what's happened in the last 5 minutes. Duncan Ferguson slips. Kremenliev provides the cross, and Maxwell this time has absolutely no chance. Todorov gets in front of Gary Stevens, and Maxwell can do absolutely nothing about this. It just shows you, if you put crosses into dangerous areas, how difficult they are to deal with.
Well, we said all along that Rangers, in preparing for this game, did not underestimate Levski Sofia. But out on the pitch, there have been some shortcomings defensively by Rangers on a night when they've done well to get 3 goals of their own. Robertson, can they make it 4 here? Headed out by Zvetanov. Here's Presley. That's a jammering challenge by Markov on the call. As well, number 5 for Levski. Getting a second challenge as well, Andy.
I can't help thinking that Walter Smith will be absolutely furious, Martin. Cruising at 2-0, I mean cruising. Concede a goal, but go 2 goals ahead again, and then concede another one. I honestly don't think they'll be very happy at the moment.
Walter Smith in the blazer there. Very reflective. The Rangers, who have been so used to trailblazing domestically, have been out of sorts in the Premier League. There has been progress in the League Cup, of course, towards the semi-finals, but not without a scare or 2 along the way. Taken to extra time here by Aberdeen in the quarter-final. So, in truth, the signs for tonight weren't altogether promising for Walter Smith's side. First, Presley. Provides some stewardship here in midfield. Morrow, not too much weight to throw about in the centre. But it's been a rattling good European Cup tie, first round, first leg. Markov taking a safe way out for Levski. Robertson can hurl another one here. And all night, Bulgarians have looked beatable in the air. Borimirov. Throw to Rangers. 5 minutes to go. Ian Ferguson. McCall. Stephen. Well, it's a corner. Don't think Rangers could have expected much more than that. Stevens striving to the very last. It'll be a great time now for Duncan Ferguson to get his first goal for Rangers. He's one of the pack waiting in the centre. Presley's come up as well. More convincing that time.
That's not the area to be delivering a corner into. When a team's look to be having problems every time with the defending crosses.
Been comparisons made with Sparta Prague, who put Rangers out in the first round 2 years ago. Levski Sofia absolutely delighted to get 2 goals here at Ibrox, though they're trailing. They're still very much in the tie. Who scored the second goal. Looking for Trendafilov. Here's McPherson. Haitley. Duncan Ferguson. Trying to get the cross in quickly. Markov beating Morrow. Haitley, who's on a hat-trick, of course. Actually, Andy, the last time a Rangers player got a hat-trick in a European Cup tie was the last time you and I commentated on one, which was against Valletta. Maurice Johnston that night.
Well, they dearly love another goal, Rangers now, Martin. I can't believe at a time in this match I thought they were really in control, cruising at home at 2-0 up, thinking this tie's almost over. It just shows you what an amazing game this football is.
McCall. Here's Morrow. Haitley pulling to the left-hand side. Across goes Hubchev. Well, Levski Sofia came here clearly to make a game of it, and not just to fill their own penalty area for 90 minutes. It's a stray one from Trendafilov, who rather got underneath it. 90 seconds or so left for Rangers to try and widen the margin to 2. They had it at 2-0, they had it at 3-1. Can they make it 4-2? McCall, it's a useful one. It's McPherson, goalkeeper, right back onto his line. Has he taken it over his line? And he's given an indirect free kick against the goalkeeper. Rangers think they've taken it and scored. There's no offside, Andy.
No, I mean, I think you can see that, and Dave McPherson in clear. Whether he feels that the goalkeeper throws the ball down, and then I think he's not entitled to pick it back up
after it's bounced.
After it's bounced. So therefore, the referee, quite rightly, quite legitimately, has given an indirect free kick.
Is he now going to reach for his pocket for a card? It looks like Todorov that was brandished at.
I mean, you can see the goalkeeper was struggling, backing off, Martin. Had he not let go of the ball, he might well have carried it over the line. I think that was his major concern. But had that bounced and he volleyed it clear, then of course the Bulgarians would have been okay.
An extraordinary evening is having an extraordinary ending.
Well,
They've got to go back on the line now. Todorov's come across to the linesman to try and talk to him. Now he's gone back onto his own goal line here.
How do you police this, sir?
Well, normally you would expect the goalkeeper to try and get out in front. Morgun is just standing in the line. Well, they're going to charge it, aren't they? And they do for Ian Ferguson. Well, they've survived. We're into stoppage time now. Presley, the goalkeeper comes, the flag is up, Morgun again. I wonder whether he'll be the goalkeeper in the second leg. They've got one or two other options. Levski Sofia, he's had an adventure all of his own tonight. Free kick for offside.
But people might think that you should be scoring from this, but that's the most difficult thing. Look at the bodies that you have to go through.
And look at the goalkeeper. He's been flattened by his own teammates.
I think his teammates felt that they've got more chance of saving it than he had. So let's get in front of him quick. But it isn't easy to get a goal out of a situation like that, as Rangers found there.
Ivanov. Back comes Morrow, busily. Stevens, game not over yet. Borimirov, one of the scorers for Levski. Todorov the other. Ivanov, referee looks at his watch. Well, sometimes the first leg of European ties can be stale and sterile. This has been just the opposite of that. After a tentative start, Levski Sofia believed that they could find some gaps in the Rangers' plan. They've certainly done that in the latter stages. But Rangers have been scoring as well as shipping goals tonight. Ivanov. Another check on the watch from the Danish referee. Pushed by Trendafilov in any case. Well, is the time for Rangers to get the ball to the other end of Ibrox Stadium in the few seconds that remain? Maybe there is.
Can't remember too many stoppages in this second half.
It was just that moment when the call was booked. Call again. This goes Hukchev, Morrow. Well, it's not a game to leave early, this one. Over Duncan Ferguson. Trevor Steven hooks it in and not into the net, only into the gloves of Morgun. Well, Levski thinking about using up a few more seconds by bringing on a substitute here. They've got a player down injured.
A continental trait, that, isn't it? Late on in a game, just to break it up, use up precious seconds.
But they can't do that because the game is over. Rangers have just a one-goal lead here on an eventful evening at Ibrox to take to Sofia for the second leg in 2 weeks' time. 2 goals here for Mark Hateley after the first from Dave McPherson in stoppage time at the end of the first half. The game really coming alive.